Good evening. Welcome to Current Affairs. Today, I would like to talk to you with respect to the issues that are related to Meghalaya. In fact, in the previous class, I told you that I'll be speaking to you with respect to the elections of the President of United States of America. But that I'll be doing it tomorrow. So today, I would like to deal with a small topic, that is issues related to Meghalaya. So this is the opinion that has been expressed by the Honorable Apex Court in India, that is the Supreme Court. So what exactly is this? See, starting from the lowest level till the level of the so-called the Supreme Court, they have to follow certain fundamental principles. And this is nothing but the judges are expected to adhere to certain principles. But what exactly happened in Meghalaya? So Meghalaya is one of the states in Northeast, and you have a high court in Meghalaya. Out of 24 high courts, one high court is also present in Meghalaya. And very recently, the Meghalaya High Court has taken certain issues on suo motu basis. What do you mean by suo motu? Suo motu means acting on its own. Meaning, generally what happens, a person has to move the court. Moving in the sense, you need to go to the court and present a petition, request the court to look into these matters. Then only the court is expected to look into that. But otherwise, what happened in this particular case, suo motu in the sense, certain issues have been taken by Meghalaya High Court on its own. What is that? So the state government and the state legislature, they have decided. In almost all the states, we have a concept called Lokayukta. In your state also, the Lokayukta may be there. Kindly verify. The general principle that is followed by all the states in Lokayuktas is that a person who has been retired as a judge will be appointed as Lokayukta. This is the common principle that is operated in all the states. But there is because Lokayukta is not a constitutional authority. It is left to the discretion of the state legislature. You can design your own qualifications. And Meghalaya has decided that let there be a non-judicial person can also be appointed as the Lokayukta. This is one matter that has been taken very seriously by the so-called the Supreme Court. Number one. I'm sorry. So this is the matter that has been taken very seriously by Meghalaya High Court. Point number one. Number two, Meghalaya is also postponing the establishment of the Meghalaya State's Human Rights Commission. In every state, you have the Human Rights Commission. Meghalaya is also expected to have this, but for quite a long period of time, there is no Human Rights Commission in Meghalaya. Two things I'm going to talk to you. Number one is that a non-judicial person can also be appointed as Lokayukta, as decided by Meghalaya state legislatures. Number two, there was no clarity with respect to the appointment of the state's Human Rights Commission. So hence Meghalaya High Court took it very seriously, and it has issued the notices to the government of Meghalaya, asking that on what authority you can decide that a non-judicial person can be appointed as a Lokayukta. So meaning the decisions that were taken by the Meghalaya government have been struck down by Meghalaya High Courts. Immediately the Supreme Court has taken the issue very seriously, and Supreme Court Meghalaya High Court has decided all these things. So the Supreme Court has said that the necessity has arisen again for the reiteration of fundamental principles to be adhered to by a judge. Meaning, whenever you are giving a judgment, you have to adhere yourself to certain principles. So now this is the time that you have to reiterate. This is what is expressed by Supreme Court. Meaning, Supreme Court thought that it is an unnecessary intervention by the so-called High Court of Meghalaya into the matters of the state legislature, where the decision can be taken only by the state legislature. So hope you are getting this. Very, very important. But is it okay? Two things. And when this particular matter has come before the Supreme Court today, the council from Meghalaya, meaning the representative from the state government, has mentioned that by June, they are going to establish the Meghalaya State Human Rights Commission. Okay, the problem is solved. So when it comes to the number two, Supreme Court took it very seriously. How can you enter into the domain of a legislature where certain things can be decided by the legislatures? Okay, that's the reason why Meghalaya High Court, whatever it said, with respect to the Lokayukta qualifications, have been struck down by the Supreme Court. Meaning, Supreme Court tried to give the upper hand to the legislature in certain matters, meaning it wanted that every judge in the country has to adhere to certain principles whenever you are giving the judgments. And let's see what exactly is this. Have a look at this. Yeah, you can see on the screen. Supreme Court bench said that the necessity has arisen again for reiteration of fundamental principles to be adhered to by a judge. So hope you understood the whole concept here. Supreme Court does not want any judge in the country to have unnecessary interference into those areas where you are not asked to enter in or look into. Okay. See, there's a person by name Francis Bacon. So he was from UK. According to him, he said that judges ought to be more learned than witty. They should be more learned than witty, more revered than plausible, and more advised than confident. Now, let's come to the Supreme Court. Look at the paragraph. This one I am highlighting. Have a look at this. Supreme Court has observed that the decision of a bench of Meghalaya High Court to take suo motu cognizance of two issues. One is the Meghalaya Lokayukta Act permitting appointment of a non-judicial person as Lokayukta and a non-constitution of the state's Human Rights Commission. So during that time today, when this particular case has come before the apex court, Meghalaya Council Ranjan Mukherjee assured the Supreme Court that the State Human Rights Commission would be independent and Supreme Court found fault with the High Court Division Bench for taking suo motu cognizance for non-appointment of Lokayukta and seeking answers from the state as to why the legislature allowed appointment of a person other than a retired judge of Lokayukta. So meaning this is the question that is raised by the High Court to the state government. But the question that was raised by High Court has been faulted by the Supreme Court. Is that okay? Look at this. The Supreme Court frowned at the High Court's indiscretion in taking suo motu cognizance. So why did you act on your own? when there was no challenge to the constitutional validity of the Lokayukta's Act's provisions. If there is a challenge, meaning if somebody approaches you, then you could have entered. Why did you enter into the scene? Look at this. This may be thought of in rare circumstances, depending on the nature of legislation and the collective benefit. But in that area also, the High Court cannot raise the issue relating to any particular provision and seek the explanation in exercising the jurisdiction under Article 226. Is it okay? Very, very important points. So, meaning the apex court found fault with the action that was taken by the High Court. That is the reason why using the statements like reiteration of fundamental principles to be adhered by a judge. These are the very, very big statements that are given by the Supreme Court. Is that okay? The Supreme Court came down on Meghalaya High Court over the latest decision on High Court High Court decision. Is that okay? So this is a repetition, I believe. Now the Supreme Court also said that it is a manifestation that the division bench of the High Court has, with an erroneous understanding of the fundamental principles of law, scanned the anatomy of the provision and passed an order in relation to as if it is obnoxious or false foul of any constitutional provision, and the same is clearly impermissible. Clear? The overall thing, what I would like to say here is that the action that was taken by Meghalaya High Court, of course, it's a bench in the Meghalaya High Court. It was seen as a fault by the so-called the Supreme Court. Meaning, what are the cases that you can take on suo motu basis, on what you cannot take? What are the areas that you can take when it is challenged, and what are the areas that you should not take up? Meaning, you cannot just violate the Article 226 of the Indian Constitution. This is what the apex court decided today. Is it okay? That is the reason why it is becoming one of the important one. Clear? And read this very carefully. Anybody from Meghalaya who is going to attend interview this time, so you have to be very careful with respect to this one. Otherwise, also when a question comes on judiciary, you have to mention this. Is that okay? It is not just this person or persons in Meghalaya High Court, but all the judges in all the courts must adhere to certain principles. That is what is reiterated by the so-called the Supreme Court today. Is that okay? That is the issue of the Meghalaya. Anyway, at the end of this month, I am going to upload again all these issues in our site, and I want you to read this one. Okay, but tomorrow I'll be coming to you and I'll be talking to you with respect to the election, how the election is going to be procedure. Is it just like India or some other procedure? Why there is so much of talk whenever there is a election takes place once in 4 years in America? All those things we'll try to see tomorrow. And for today, I'll take leave of you and hope you might have enjoyed Holi very nicely. So though it is belated, I say belated Holi wishes. And I also know that some of the parts in the country are celebrating Holi tomorrow. So wherever you are, if you have celebrated today, it's a belated happy wishes, a happy Holi wishes. And if you're celebrating tomorrow, and I wish you a very, very happy. Okay, and please use natural colors and see that your eyes are protected. Is it okay? I wish you all the very, very best and have a very good day. Thank you so much.